All right, so I haven't made a YouTube video in months, and and I haven't been active on any social media or anything in months. And the reason that I've taken this hiatus is because I had a baby. I had a baby with the same woman that I've been with for over 10 years. And we waited 10 years to have a baby, and it was a conscious, planned, intentional decision on both of our parts based on changes in worldview. So once you get into all this stuff, the stuff that we believe and the stuff that we talk about, I guess you realize that you've been under attack your entire life, and you realize that the influences and the forces that have encouraged you and directed you to make your life decisions have been malignant ones by people who want to destroy you, your culture, your family, and rob you of the value of your labor. So once you realize all that, your perspective changes. And, recognizing the value of natalism in the abstract sense is something that a lot of people can do. Say that I understand that we should have children in our society, and they should be our children and not people who are imported from another country to serve as ersatz children. You can understand that, but making the leap to actually doing it yourself is a whole nother thing. And the adjustment for me has been emotional, psychological, and in terms of producing things. So I've had to spend a lot of time helping to take care of my child and also to try to make money. Because if you don't have a child, you can basically determine your own lifestyle, hour by hour and day by day. You decide what you do. And if you have a partner, you jointly decide that. Or if you rule your partner with an iron fist, then you decide what you'll both do. Either way, once you have a child, those things change. And so I have not had the free time in order to do this stuff, in order to produce. I'm still able to consume a lot of material while I'm doing other things, but as far as producing stuff, you got to set aside time to do that, and it's difficult. But nevertheless, it seems like the natalist thing is something that we have to do, or there's no future. There's no future. There's no future for us at all. And so one thing that I did to make some money involved going to talk to a group of community and business leaders in the place where I live, and they were expressing dissatisfaction over how their kids leave. Their kids leave town. When they turn 18, 19, they're out of there. They want to go to one of the big urban, liberal, multicultural places because the children have been poisoned, the young people have been poisoned their entire youth, thinking that if you're not surrounded by black people with crazy haircuts, then you're not really living. If you're not hearing the babble of all the different languages, you're not really living. If there's not shootings all the time, then you're not really living. I don't know. If you're not surrounded by homosexuals and transgenders, then you're not really living. These different ideas. And so it just impressed on me that, you have a group of people living in an area with a certain racial background and a certain culture. If their children are constantly being siphoned off into another place that's fundamentally unlike the original community, you might as well just be living under the Turkocratia in Bulgaria or the Balkans, where they're coming around to get the Janissaries and they're just taking your kids, right? That's essentially what's happening. And in an age of institutionalized homosexuality, miscegenation, and birth control, we really can't afford that. We really cannot afford to be constantly losing people. And so all of these issues just kind of come together, I think, to reinforce the importance of having children and of getting yourself into a position to be able to have children. And I'm not going to say that I regret having waited 10 years to have my first child. I'm not going to say that I regret it. because in this Hegelian view of history, everything, the only way for us to have gotten to the point in history that we're at right now is for everything that has happened to have happened. So we need to be prospective and not retrospective as much as possible. But from this point on, I would hope to encourage everybody I know, especially if they have their mind right, to please consider natalism as an option for yourself and the other members of your family, and try to encourage them, because as important as consciousness raising is, we know the role of ethnic groups in history, and we know the dedication and devotion that people have to ideas and culture when they've been brought up in it from a young age. It's something that's hard to instill in other people, but when you create your own people, I think that it's something that we just have to do in addition to the consciousness raising. Let me put it that way. And, the emotional and psychological changes that go along with it, those are good. They're all good, by the way. If you think about, there's a lot of studies out there that talk about the way that people's brains change, being exposed to young children, being exposed to infants, and the way that women's bodies change after they become pregnant, deliver a baby, and breastfeed. Essentially, it's all good. It's all things that are good for you and good for your body, and that makes sense based on how you look at humans, whether you think that they're the creation of an intentional divine act, or whether they're the product of evolution. It all makes sense. So this was just to explain where I've been and what I'm doing, and what I'm thinking about, and I'm intending to be more active, but I can't really promise it. So until we talk again, thank you for your time.